All right. So if you have ever made a cold call in your life, you understand two things. One, it is probably and still is the most effective way to get listings as fast as possible. And two, it comes with a lot of challenges. There's a lot of issues when making cold calling work for your business as a real estate agent. And we're going to talk through all of those today because with me today, we've got Angel Garcia, who is the creator and founder of the Enzo Dialer. And we're going to talk about what it is, how it works, and more importantly, what agents are doing to win at a big, big scale using this platform. So, Angel, appreciate you jumping on, my friend.
Same, man. I'm happy to be on. Long time coming.
Long time coming. Long time coming. And I think it's important to give the audience some context because I think the question that often agents that I coach ask me almost every day, and you and I have talked about this a lot, which is, which dialer should I use? And there's so many questions when it comes to making a cold calling system work. The thing I love about what you're doing is you built your system because you're actually in the trenches doing it. So give us like the 30,000 foot view of like your background in the business and why you decided to launch Enzo Dialer.
So I started my career off as a realtor. So calling expireds for sale by owners, doing a lot of just listed, just solds. And all my business was generated over the phone. I did really well, scaled my business to over 100 transactions a year, with my primary lead gen source being over the phone. So that's, I understand like the ins and outs of like what we look for and when it comes to dialing. And I understand that conversations and more conversations equals more money, right? Like it's very linear. So over time, I started working on the investment side, and then I started actually hiring callers to work for me, and scaled my investment side of the business to basically hire about 30, 40 callers at any given time, and then did the same rinse and repeat process for my solar company. So we started scaling pretty quickly, and the phones are literally everything for me. So over time, I started to identify all the little problems that you run into with dialing, and then I started seeing a trend that was not working in my favor. Right, the trend was that less calls are connecting, and my cost per opportunities is going way up, while interest rates are also going up. So I had to figure something out. I had to scale my business back down to about 15 callers or so, and then I started hiring developers to help me figure out this issue.
That's great.
We dove into it, and over a lot of trial and error, we figured out a nice little formula and immediately scaled to over 100 callers within like 4 months once we got it dialed in. But the key thing was being able to fix the number one problem, which is I just need to talk to more people in less time.
That's right. And we're gonna unpack all of that in this episode because you just nailed it. That's the name of the game. People that succeed through direct outbound prospecting and picking up the phone know that it's the fastest way to build income. Yet their biggest issue, what you just said, is getting enough people on the phone, not showing up as spam, connectivity rates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to talk about all the things Enzo Dialer is doing to address all of those things because you nailed it. I mean, if somebody has good skills over the phone, it's just, can I talk to more people in less time? It's can I go from, which is what I hear when I coach an agent. It's like, dude, I call expireds for sale by owners, et cetera, and I'm talking to 2-3 people an hour. This is brutal. And so let's start off with that. Talk to us about contact per hour and what you're seeing with people on the Enzo Dialer, because it's up to 14 line dialer. Do I have that right?
Yeah, you can go up to 14 lines, and it's primarily a like smart functionality. So you can control the lines, like where you can say, hey, I want to do 2 lines or 5 lines and so on. Most people usually do the smart dialer where it picks the lines for you based off of what your connectivity rate is, just to make sure that you're staying on the phone, and then it balances itself.
Yeah, speak to that, because this is why I think what you've built is so valuable, because that's one of the big things you guys have solved, which is we can get people from 2, 3, 4 contacts per hour to what, 15, 20 contacts per hour?
We've got some people that have gone up to like 30, 40 contacts per hour. So
Wow.
that's going to also depend on like the quality of the data and then also the market that you're calling, right? Like different markets have different pickup rates. But for the most part, it's tremendously different than anything that you've ever experienced before if you haven't tried it.
So how in the world are you guys doing it? I mean, that's what people care about. Like how, I guess we can geek out a little bit. Like talk to
Yeah,
us about
yeah, yeah.
how you guys have gone about building this technology in a way that you guys call it the smart dialer to increase connectivity. And really quick, and we'll get right back to the video. But here's what's interesting: 80% of the realtors that watch videos on this channel are not making $100,000 a year. In fact, most of them tell me they feel like underpaid Uber drivers. They're burned out spending their nights and weekends chasing flaky buyers all over town, and as a result, earning less money now than they did before they got into real estate. And if you're in the same boat, I'm going to invite you to actually do something about it. In the description right underneath this video, there's a link for you to schedule a private one-on-one Zoom session where we'll map out a custom step-by-step action plan for you to start earning a minimum of $10,000 every single month starting immediately. If you're serious about your business and you're ready to make a change in your business, click the link in the description to get started.
So it's not one thing. It's a combination of a lot of little small details working together. So it's the same thing as like when you're working on your skills and stuff like that, right? Like it's not like one thing that you said. It's how you laid everything out and so on. So when it comes to the dialing side, it was identifying what was like the main causes. One of the big causes that we have is that a lot of your calls actually aren't even being connected anymore, because you're
Mm.
being flagged as spam. And because carriers, even if you're not even flagged as spam, you have a lower connectivity rating to where your calls even don't make it to the other end. So we fix those issues by making sure that we're registering clean phone numbers, and getting an abundance of them to make sure that you're not getting easily flagged and then over abusing and overutilizing one single phone number when you're dialing. So example, like if you're calling with Mojo, a lot of people will just call, you know, all day long with that same caller ID. At some point, Verizon, AT&T, all the different carriers, they're going to realize like, man, this person has called people on my phone or on our network multiple times throughout the day. There's no way this guy's just calling his friends or his family or whatever. This can't be high quality connection calls. So you have to navigate through all the different things that the carriers are trying to do to block calls, legitimate business calls from business owners, right?
That's
Um,
huge.
yeah. So first thing is that we load you up with an abundance of caller IDs, right? Like that's a big key piece of it. The next thing is that we're making sure that all of the calls are rated at a call it to station A, which is the highest possible rating that you can get. Think of it like your credit report. Everybody gets started off with an 800 credit score. You can bang it up, right? Like anybody can
Yep.
bang it up. You can basically circumvent the system sometimes and then over abuse one caller ID, and lower your rating. But we start you off really strong, and then we also keep an eye on your connectivity to make sure that you stay nice and strong.
So
Uh,
can I give the audience some context really quick?
yeah,
I want to draw a parallel. And so for people that, I mean, a lot of people I think may get it, but for those that don't, I relate this to email deliverability.
yep,
It's like, just imagine a world, right? You having 1,000 people on your email list, and most email providers will give you a report on how many of those actually got delivered. This is based on your credibility with these email servers. Like you could have 1,000 people on your list, send an email to all 1,000 people, but that doesn't mean all 1,000 people even saw the email, let alone open the email, let alone click on a link in the email, et cetera, et cetera. This is the same thing. You could be doing 100 dials per hour, but that does not mean that all 100 of those dials are even connecting at the carrier level to even give you an opportunity to have a pickup, let alone a conversation. Is that right?
exactly right.
Yep.
Exactly right. So what ends up happening is when you use the Enzo dialer, you're not just getting more dialing power. You can have the same dialing speed. If I put you down to a 3-line speed and a 3-line speed with a different service, you're very likely going to be connecting a lot more calls and penetrate a lot more of that list because you're using a higher rated service that has the calls connecting, because you're not getting flagged as spam, which means like if your calls is going out, right? Like this is a call going out. Well, carriers are going to say, hey, they have like a verification process that happens in a split second when the call's coming in, and they'll look at the call and they say call rated A, call rated C. This goes that way. This goes right to my customers. They'll route you in a different direction, and it's just a brick wall. Boom. Or they'll send you straight to like a dead line, dead air.
It's great. And no one's talking about this. And that's the thing. Everyone's talking about, how do I register my number to not show up as spam? We're not even talking about that yet. We're talking about, did the carrier even put through your call, let alone how do you show up on the caller ID, correct?
Yep.
So
it's worse than showing up as spam. It's a lot worse than showing up as spam.
But I think my point is this is happening and people don't even know it. If they're on dialer X and dialer Z and dialer whatever, they don't even know, Angel, that this is a problem. They don't even know it. All they know of the problem, see what you're talking about, Angel, is one of I think your secret sauce, and like how you've increased contacts per hour is by solving the problem most agents didn't know they have. That's the 100%. Genius behind it.
100%. And then the thing is that like it's not even just it's just so flat out obvious when you actually experience it, right? Like when you jump in, you're like, whoa, what is this thing? Mm-hmm. Like I didn't know dialing could work like this.
Right.
It's just completely different because everybody's gotten just so used to maybe getting like 5, 6, 7 conversations an hour.
Yeah.
You can do that with your cell phone.
Exactly. Right? You can just hand dial and get that.
Yeah, you can hand dial and get that. So being able to get to the 30, 40 contacts an hour, like that's insane. That's not connections either. That's like human answered conversations that we're talking about, right?
Yeah. And so all the killers on the phone, like if you are a sales ninja, it's like, what would your business look like? And we're not going to get into all the conversion ratios on like the sales funnel. We'll talk about data sources maybe later, but like, wow, if you went from our average that we've seen our coaching clients have is about 7 or 8 contacts per hour, what would happen to the number of leads and the number of appointments you would set on a daily, weekly, monthly basis if your average contacts per hour went from 7 to 22? And we have a coaching client who's on your platform right now. We have many. And I had a conversation with him just last week. And he's like, dude, when I'm circle prospecting, I'm getting like 20, 25 contacts an hour. It's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Because there's nothing worse, and you know this, Angel, is most agents have call reluctance, right? So it's really difficult to even get them to sit their rear ends at their desk and actually make the calls. But there's nothing worse than sitting there for hours and talk to 2 people. It's like, dude, this is a complete waste of my time. And that's what you've been able to solve.
So Brandon, check this out. So you hit like the nail right on the head, right? Like it makes it fun again.
That's right.
Right? Like it brings the fun back into the prospecting side because if you're bringing the action back in.
That's right.
So not only that, but you're concentrated because like I know from my own personal prospecting efforts, when I'm dialing and I have too much wait time, I'm popping up YouTube. I'm getting distracted. I'm looking at like my CRM. I'm going through like old follow-up tasks. I'm maybe doing some comps. I'm checking out some random stats. News popped up.
You're inviting distraction. You are inviting the woman in the red dress. That's what you're doing. You are inviting the distraction. You're inviting the shiny object because you're not locked in. And you had said something to me on another call. I don't even know if you remember this, but the other thing too is how fast your skills will grow. You're going to go from 100 contacts in a week to maybe 500 a week. So you do that week over week over week over week. I've always told people that I work with, the learning is in the doing. And so if you're dialing for 3 hours and you have 10 conversations, okay, fine. If you're dialing for 3 hours and you have 100 conversations, you have so many more at bats, which will increase your skill level for sure.
Absolutely. You accelerate it. And the cool thing is that when you're going at a certain speed, like some people don't realize they don't understand and sometimes really see when they're getting hung up on what word they're actually using. Well, when it happens every 15 seconds, bang, 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 and you're just like, hey, blop, hey, up, blop, hey, up, blop. Hey, maybe I should just shift what I'm saying here and make this little adjustment. So you'll start seeing the progression of your skills, like you said, very, very quickly because it's easier to identify patterns when you're dialing at that speed.
No doubt. No doubt. That's amazing. Okay. So those are all the benefits, right? And so if people want to like try this thing or learn more about it, I'll put a link in the description, Angel, so they click on the link and they can talk to your team and they can learn more about it. And so let's just shift gears for a second and talk about some conversion and some when it comes to list building, because I think you and I both agree that even if you solve the problem of having more conversations in less time, if they're with the wrong people, it's still costing you a lot of return on your time. I call it ROT. And so you have done some phenomenal research in this sector to look at, okay, we understand where to spend your time when it comes to outbound cold calling and which demographic, which list, which data sets have the highest conversion. Can we pivot and kind of talk through some of that?
Yeah. So naturally, as you start building these types of tools and start looking into this data, and as you're getting callers and this and that, you start geeking out on the data, right? Because you start seeing the KPIs. The KPIs are so clear, right? Because you've smoothed out all of like the ups and downs.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we noticed is obviously data plays a big factor. Right. So like everybody understands and knows that, hey, you can call expires and you're probably going to talk to more motivated people in less time, right? Like you're going to reduce the amount of conversations between someone saying I'm interested in selling.
Sure.
But the problem is that, I mean, a lot of problems with calling sometimes expired, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest ones is that it's a very, very competitive space, right? That's one of the big ones, just overall. Now, the cool thing is that they're not the only ones that are more likely to sell. There's other indicators that you can look at of people that are more likely to sell that are just going to give you a better, a better conversion rate, right? So if you find a list that converts twice as much as your general, like, cold prospecting, you've literally just doubled your output.
Yeah.
Right, by just making a small shift. So we've done a lot of research in two different ways. One is like if you're using a tool like the Enzo dialer, you're able to very quickly see all the different lists that you put in. You can see what the conversion metrics are of each one of them. So which one is just finding more motivated people per dial, and then also you can look at it on a market side. So we also turned around and did it on the market level, where we looked at, all right, I'm going to grab a bunch of different types of lists, right? Put a bunch of different filters on them, right? Some people that have liens, some people that have gone through divorce, right? Tax delinquencies, right? How do I stack all of these different lists and filters? And then how will they perform? This is like a 3-year test that we did where we looked at what the turnover was, right, on these lists. So if you have 2 out of every 100 homes that sells every single year in a general neighborhood, well, this particular like combination of filters converted, let's say 3-4 times more than your general homeowner.
That's
So
right.
that now is much lower hanging fruit than, let's say, you're expired, right? Because they're not only more interested in selling, right, or more likely to sell, but nobody knows about it.
That's right.
So they're not getting hounded. They're getting hounded just as much as your general just listed, just sold.
That's right.
And that's the beautiful thing about it.
So to give some context to the audience, if we're just as an example, let's just say, an agent's going to do literal circle prospecting. They're just going to draw a circle around some area and hit dial. These are just general homeowners. There's no targeting. There's no nothing. We're seeing that list convert at 2%. And when I say convert, to your point, it's finding somebody who says, I want to sell. So what do we mean? Specifically, it's 1 out of 50. And so to your point, as we get more targeted, as we start to look at a downsizer, an absentee owner, somebody who's filed for divorce, somebody who's in probate, somebody who has an HOA lien on the property. Every time we look at one of these characteristics, to your point, conversion on the list goes up because the likelihood to sell goes up. Yes?
Yeah. So here's the interesting thing, right? So the test that I did is actually referring to 2 out of every 100 will sell their house, like their house recorded, and I have a county record showing that their property sold 12 months from when I had pulled that list, or within 12 months.
Sure.
So that's the key piece of it, right? So like I know that for sure someone is going to sell. Now, yes, when you're making the calls, you're not going to grab every single one of them, right? So you'll basically run into, let's say, 3 or 4 different people that may that are going to be selling. Like if you speak to 50 people, you spoke to one person that's going to be selling this year, right?
Yep.
Like that's just a general stat. If you're going 2% nationwide, just
That's
general
right.
listed, just listed, just sold calls. If you talk to 50 people, one person is selling within 12 months.
100%.
The other list that we're talking about are like when you start getting more dialed in. Like let's say, for example, if you start calling, like let's say a list of foreclosures are going to convert 5 times more likely than your general listed, just listed and just sold. So you're going to see 10%, right?
Yep.
Big difference.
Huge difference. Out of 50 contacts, now you got 5 people who have motivation to do something. That's exactly what we're talking about. And so I think that's the other piece is when an agent's new to prospecting, there's a lot of things they got to figure out. But what you just said, it's not just, I mean, that's a huge one. Talk to more people in less time, but talk to more of the right people in less time. Now you're really cooking.
Yeah. So I'll name a few of them if you'd like me to.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, in a lot of the different research that I've done, and I'm staring at it right now, but
Perfect.
foreclosures, 5.07 times more likely to sell. Right. And I'll go specific, so
Yeah.
you have it on there. Divorces, people that have filed, right? So from the filing, from when it happened, within the last 365 days, those will convert 3 times more than your general standard property owner. Then you have HOA liens. So if someone gets an HOA lien filed on their property, also 3 times more likely. Property lien of any kind in the last 365 days is 2.62 times more likely. Divorce within the last 2 years also, like if you add another year in there, it's only 2 times more likely, but it's still, a generous amount. Yeah, it's a big difference, right? So when you start stacking all these different lists, you're essentially improving your odds, right? Like you're improving your odds. Not only are you, let's say, talking to 5-6 times more people in less time, but you can also double the qualified leads that you'll get in between the number of conversations that you're having, right?
That's right. And so that's what the specific ratio, Angel, that I coach to is contact to lead generated. And what I'm always, as a baseline, I as quickly as possible, this is how I get agents a huge return on their investment into coaching within their first 30, 60, 90 days, is increasing their contact to lead ratio. So if I meet somebody, and to your point, they're converting their contact to lead 2%, I try to get them to a minimum of 10% within the first 90 days. So it's like, that's a huge difference when we're generating at the top of the funnel 10% from 2%. And then what happens from appointment set to met to taken, et cetera, et cetera.
So the cool thing is that you and I are very much in line with this, because that's literally how I built the dialer.
No doubt.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. So I built it out to the most important metrics, and right there, smack in the top 3 is your sales, or we call it sales to contact ratio, right? Whatever you consider a sale, which is a lead generated or an appointment set, right? But that metric, right, to the number of conversations. So based off of the disposition that you use when you have that call, like that call outcome, we're tracking which one was an actual contact. So with that contact, we can see, okay, well, your sales to contact ratio is X. And then we also have sales to connected, like per the leads that you have in there, like how many are you actually converting? And then a really important one for me, especially because I hire callers, which is sales per working hour. So for every hour that you're on, how many leads are you generating?
Sure.
Are you at 0.5? Are you at 1? Are you at 3? Right? Like what is that percentage?
It's amazing. So let's can you talk to us about how you work with clients? So a lot of my audience are real estate agents who are top producers, or they are on their way to becoming a top producer because they're They're fully bought in to this idea of direct outbound prospecting being the most profitable and being the quickest way to generate income. And so walk us through like what happens. Somebody, and again, if you guys want to just check out Enzo, there's a link in the description, but they reach out to you because one of the biggest pain points I would say is everyone is intimidated by new tech, right? So they get all excited about it and then they get into the tech and they get super, super overwhelmed. And many agents get so overwhelmed that they get a case of the you know what's. And they're like, dude, I just, it's just too much. I can't deal with the interface and I just don't want to deal with it. I want to go back to what's comfortable. And so can you walk us through how you support people so they can get up and running as soon as possible?
Yeah. I mean, new tech is obviously always scary, right?
Always.
Especially when you've got a lot of different things going on. Like especially if you're a top producer, solopreneur type of style where you're a one-man team or a two-man team. Sometimes like new tech will really make you run for the hills. Now, the cool thing is that when you do sign up, the first thing that happens is my team will jump on a discovery call with you, right? So that discovery call is literally for you to find out like, hey, is this actually a good fit? So like, for example, if we recognize that there's a certain problem that you're going to run into using our software, we're basically going to politely say that it's probably not best that you jump on,
Sure.
right? For lack of data or for other reasons, right? The type of calls that you're doing, whatever. That's more based off of other industries for type of calls. But the next thing that's going to happen is, let's say you get started. When you do get started, you have an onboarding call. Your onboarding call is going to be with our customer success manager, the person that's going to be able to walk you through the system, and they're going to upload the data and the leads for you. So that way you can jump right in and do calls right then and there. They're literally going to hold your hand to actually make your first few dials.
It's awesome.
And then they'll do continued calls with you just to make sure that you're getting acclimated with the system.
Super
So
cool.
how do I look at the reports? How do I upload data again? Right? Reminders.
That's great. So your team is literally holding their hand to like make sure the first couple dials, like you got this, like we got your back. Like you're literally there, like you were in the same room.
Yeah. We're jumping on a call just like this, where we're on a Zoom and we're literally saying, bring your headset to this call.
Beautiful.
We're literally going to jump on and make some calls right now together. I'm going to watch you, make sure that your microphone's connected, show you the interface, walk you through it, show you how to do a manual dial. Your leads are already going to be loaded for you, ready to go. And I'm going to show you how you can go ahead and push next. And you're going to experience it live. Any issues that you run into, you're going to run into them right now. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to walk you right to it through it.
Super cool. Yeah. Listen, last one for me. I'm curious, you being in the business of dialing solutions, if you will, how do you see the future of cold calling? There's a lot of people that are communicating a narrative that this type of work is dying and this is old school and it's dead and it does. These are all people obviously that are selling something, right? They want you to believe, don't do that. That's do my little cute shiny thing, or the sexy thing over here. But in all seriousness, how do you see the future of outbound dialing and what are the challenges ahead and how do you guys foresee that over at Enzo?
Well, so it is dying in the old ways of doing it.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So the way that you've done it in the past isn't the same way that you do it in the future.
That's right.
So to their point, there is some truth to that. But this is the new way of doing it, right? The way that we've built this dialer out is to be able to support what the future is going towards, right? Which is more call blocking and so on, right? So we've navigated through that to allow the tried and true form of being able to generate business and make a lot of money in this business with very low cost possible.
Yeah, it's great.
To continue reaping the benefits of it. There's very few tried and true options available. The cost for generating business and leads in real estate have gone through the roof.
No doubt.
Every other angle, right? Like Zillow also just dropped their leads, right? Like they're only doing a flex, and they're charging you what, 40%?
Yep, it's crazy.
So it's just insane. You can get a 10, 15, 20x ROI on your calls.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Well, listen, dude, this is exciting. I think that you entered the marketplace at a good time because there's a lot of people that have seen their contact rates just plummet like off the planet, and they're all scrambling and freaking out, and I think that you've dialed in and you've created a great solution, a great option for people. And so I would encourage anybody watching or listening. This isn't a pitch for Enzo Dialer. This is check them out, have a conversation, see if it's a fit, try the thing out, see if you go from 5 contacts an hour to 25 contacts an hour. See what happens to your business. I mean, you agree? Any last words there? I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is that it's just so different than what you're used to. Like cold calling has just simply never been better.
Yeah.
Like that's as easy as it can be because you've
Right.
never been able to have that many conversations. Because if you look at it in the form of just calling, right, like just the actual dialing, you're looking at it in one narrow way because you're putting the idea of only having 5 conversations, 6 conversations, maybe colder conversations. This is not from the same planet, right? We're talking about a completely different thing when you're having this number of conversations. When you keep it that simple, I'm just having a lot more conversations.
Great. Angel, we appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you, man.